You're now tuned in to the Dollars Not Cents radio show with your hosts, Anthony, Stephen, and Monica. The show that educates you about money and exposes the nonsense that we've been taught about money with a current news view. Get your pen and paper ready. Let's get started.
Hey folks, we welcome you to the show this morning, and we want to thank everyone for joining us every Monday through Thursday. Make sure you chime in on Dollars Not Cents and also on Twitter, Dollars Not Cents. We want to know what you have out there, who's listening, and just what you're learning on the show. We hope that you're learning a whole lot, right? Yeah. So in this morning, we got in the studio with us, we have a special guest with us this morning, Mr. Damian Johnson. What do you say good morning to the folks?
Good morning, people.
Good morning. And, of course, Monica, go ahead.
Good morning.
How was your trip in?
As usual.
As usual?
Yeah, struggle.
Struggle? You were in the struggle.
Man, I had to use my horn at least twice on the way
my
here.
God. You know what? I just thought this was the easiest morning for me because, usually when I get up, there's a lot of buses on the road, and, it's like...
Are the kids out yet?
Yeah, the kids are out. Today's Wednesday. I think they're out.
Oh,
because my kids are laying in the bed, so maybe I don't know. Maybe it's skip day or something. But I think it is. School is out today,
Okay.
But, basically, we know definitely that school is out. And we want to know all those kids are on summer vacation here pretty soon.
It's time to put them to work.
Yes. It's time. So Judith L. Bentley, good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
You sure?
Well, yes.
You're positive?
Somebody was a road.
Oh.
But see, I was driving like Monica normally does, trying to run people over.
Like I said, I don't run them over. They just in my way.
They just in her way. She got a
difference.
Didn't you rev up your engine yesterday for somebody?
I did. I had to, but guess what? When I did it, he picked up speed.
You scared that old
45,
man.
He was going 35.
She scared that old man.
He was it was a dude in a Jeep.
That was a dude in a Jeep.
When I say dude in a Jeep, you know what that means. He was a youthful dude in a Jeep. Okay. And he was either stunting in the morning, I don't know, but he had to go.
Oh, my goodness. Stephen, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning. I'm doing well. I'm dealing with that wonderful cable provider who decides that either their cable or the internet won't work at the same time. So we all know who that is.
Problems.
So I don't know what it's about, but they're kind of known for this. But they make a whole lot of money, but they don't get the best service, it seems, at times.
Well, that's okay. As long as you can make money, at some point in time, right? Just jump in your car and go to your office.
That is the goal, anyway.
Well, good morning, everybody. Again, we have a special guest today, and we'll formally introduce him in just a little while. But, Stephen, give us some good news this morning. We only want good news this morning. Tell us what's going on.
Oh, you only want good news?
Yeah,
okay.
we don't.
Pretty much.
We don't want the bad news. Forget that. We hear it all the time on CNN. You just turn it on.
Well, the good news is you are alive. You're hearing this conversation.
Thank you.
Oh, that's always great.
That's always fantastic.
That's the first thing you better do.
And the S&P, according to as of 5:16 p.m., is up. So
that's right.
Good news.
Yes.
As far as the stock market, the S&P 500 is up.
You know what that means, Stephen? Stephen,
yes.
You know what that means? That means anybody who has an index universal life policy and has a month-to-month, that means they're making some gains in there. That's awesome, isn't it?
That's awesome news. If they got an S, and that's the beautiful thing about those policies. And I read an article, which you just made me think about just now, about a strategy that I see an advisor doing. I'm a part of this financial advisory board, a planning strategy thing, and not a board, but it's a site where advisors just give each other advice and different ideas. And this guy came up with a brilliant idea of how to use, and he wasn't using universal life, but what he's using is a whole life policy. But what he does is he makes sure it's a dividend-paying whole life policy, and it's the smart thing he does. I haven't seen anybody do anything like this. But what he will do is he will take a client and say, because he'll take a client who has all this debt, who has credit card debts or who has a mortgage, And what he simply does, guys, is he takes this. He's instead of them trying to double up on their interest payments, because you know you're not making any interest when you're doubling up on the credit card payments or anything like that, on the mortgage payments. He takes that money and he funnels it into a whole life policy to where and he makes it one of those high early cash value policies. Puts the money into those policies, and then the return on that is 4% minimum. That's guaranteed, and people don't understand that. And so he makes the payments into that policy, and then in 7 to 10 years, that policy, you can borrow against that policy's cash value reserves. You don't have any penalties. You don't pay any taxes. So what he's basically doing is anyone that's been contributing to a 401k or IRA and it hasn't been performing as well, he takes that money out of that, puts it into the whole life policy that funds it, and then they're able to pay off their debts and any other negative things they got on it within a 7 or 10 year period of time. That's brilliant planning.
Oh, awesome. What a creative way to use those interest-bearing accounts. A lot of people don't understand that about interest-bearing or dividend-paying whole life policy. So that's awesome news, man. That's what I'm talking about. I think we all just learned something today.
I was over here like, I'm going to break that down.
You got to remember, it's called and I'm trying to remember the strategy. It's called infinite banking. Anybody ever heard the word? It's usually a 160-year-old strategy.
Banking on us. There's banking on yourself. There's a whole number of names for it.
It's banking on yourself, because the whole life, you got to remember, it's based on it's a life insurance value, but it's a dividend, and that's the key. You got to make sure it's something that's a dividend-paying whole life insurance policies, because the final expense policies that we do sell, and they're very much needed in this community, because there's a lot of folks that don't have insurance or they just can't afford a lot of coverage. They don't pay dividends. So a lot of people have asked me, and so there's no dividend paying. With dividend paying whole life policies, not only is the cash value growing, but also the death benefit grows.
And see, a lot of people don't understand that side, and it's good because, we've been actually talking about different types of policies in the office. So this is good information, Steve, because we were talking about whole life, the difference between final expense policies and typical whole life policies that grow with dividends. And so it's good. This is good. Judith, what you're thinking about that?
Absolutely. And it comes down to, Anthony, is about what we understand and we also, and you said this the other day, it's about, you have to change your concept and your understanding of whole life insurance and life insurance in general. It's not just a death benefit. It has tremendous living benefit values, and it's 160 plus year industry where people have been putting away a lot of money and been getting a lot of money back in return.
Fantastic. Well, and this is really, I think, what this show is about. Is really about educating folks. So today on our show, we have the DNA. No, your DNA is different, right?
It should be slightly
different. Slightly different. Just the features that make you kind of look alike, right?
That's right.
We have on the show the twin brother of Jermaine Johnson, who was on the show yesterday, who found out that Monica.
What?
What do you have in common?
My middle name is Jermaine.
Okay.
Spelled the same way.
Spelled the same way. That's right. And we're so excited to have you because you guys have actually started No Grease Barbershop. And it is so exciting because your brother was on here yesterday and we were talking about the psychology of business and the mindset. And we were really excited about having him on the show yesterday. Mm-hmm. And we're really excited about having you on the show because guess what? You get to tell on him. Mm-hmm. We know you're the older brother, right?
That's right. 10 minutes.
10 minutes, right?
I said 10th of a second, right?
He said 10 minutes.
That means he was here. He was like,
I was here before you.
I took 52 breaths before you got here.
That's right.
Oh, man, that's amazing. So, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you participate in the business.
I'm originally from Buffalo, New York. Came to Charlotte to go to Johnson C. Smith. Studied business marketing. Came out in 1997. Came out in 1995. We opened up No Grease in 97, and it's been a journey ever since. I mean, business is life. It's 24 hours a day. No breaks. You might take a vacation, but no days off.
Thank you.
But that's the good thing about owning a business. You can take a vacate whenever you really feel like you need it, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You don't have a boss telling you, sir, you need to file these 2 weeks in advance so we would know and
Ask
have a
for
replacement,
permission.
right?
Right.
You don't have to ask permission. Do you have to ask permission to go to the bathroom from your brother?
No.
No?
No.
And no penalty if you're back 3 minutes late.
No. You have to be the boss of yourself, though. So it takes
Yeah.
a lot of self-discipline.
Discipline. Wow. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. It's sometimes people look at discipline as being hard work. Because sometimes it is hard to discipline yourself,
Yeah,
right?
Sometimes, yes.
And I think that's the biggest challenge that most people face, and especially when they're starting a business, they see the work, but they don't understand it's more about discipline than it is about work.
Right.
Right? Because when you consider what we do and what our grandparents or great grandparents did, what they call work.
Was something that we would be like, it was a nightmare to us.
Well, Monica, you experienced some of that work because your grandpa used to take you where? Tell us what happened with you.
Oh man.
Tell us what happened.
Man, me and my cousin, we was like 5. My sister and his brother were like 10. My grandfather would come around the corner, pick us up at 4:00 in the morning, put us on the back of that pickup truck, and drive us out to the country by 5:00 to be out at our great grandmother's house to start digging up potatoes. Okay, While he
Digging
was-
potatoes.
I said digging potatoes.
Sound like slave labor to
Lord
me.
Jesus, wasn't it? I mean, we was picking up crops, watermelons. I mean, we was working on the farm, and I looked back at this man on this tractor. And I said, "This is not right." And the thing is, my sister and I, we were talking about this the other day. She said, "Yeah, we only got $5." I said, "No, you got $5. Me and my cousin, we got 50 cents." Okay,
50 cents.
we knew something was wrong when my granny used to pull out that little. It was a plastic thing with a split in the middle.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was straight for change, and he just bend it, and the change come popping out the top. Yeah, that's what I got. I got 50 cents, and I said, "This ain't right. I don't know about y'all, but I'm not getting paid enough. My back hurting. I'm 5 years old. This
you
is
have
not
to wake
right."
up early.
Man, this is, and we was sitting on that thing cold. My sister said, "Yeah," and we ain't have nothing to eat. No, we had to work.
No,
before we
that
ate.
was work. You ever experienced
Oh,
that,
man.
Damien?
Oh yeah. It's the world of capitalism.
Exactly.
No, that's country. I'm sorry, that's country. My grandfather used to have a garden. Unfortunately, we didn't really get to work in it. It was
Yeah, I
way
see
up in the country. They used to cut sugarcane, and they used to grow all kinds. Sugarcane is a hard crop. You can get
believe you.
snakes in them sugarcane.
Oh yes. Oh
You can
yes.
get some snakes in that sugarcane. And in Trinidad, you had what they call coral snakes. You guys know what a coral snake is?
No.
It's a
Oh, yeah.
beautiful snake. Stephen, you know about a coral snake?
Yeah, it ain't nothing I want to be dealing with though. But yeah, I know about it.
I'm telling you, coral snakes are one of the most deadly snakes in the world. They're beautiful. And my mom used to tell us stories that people used to pick them up because they had beautiful colors. They come in yellow, orange.
Orange and
they have
black,
little stripes on them.
Stripes.
And-
Are they extremely poisonous?
Yes, they are extremely poisonous. That was the point she was saying.
Yeah, okay.
That was the point. She was saying they were
I
so
remember them.
they were so pretty that people would kids would pick them
wouldn't
up.
pick that up.
Yes.
No.
But the kids started wearing
Anything
necklace.
Anything colorful, you supposed to leave it alone,
Really?
right?
And they got poison. I mean,
Oh,
the young kids who don't know any better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, they were there. And not only that, see, down in the Caribbean, they got those big mambas. My mom would say sometimes you might be sitting what you think on a log,
Oh no.
and it's got moss all growing because they can take months to digest a kill. So she said you might be sitting on a log that you think is a log because it's all moss grown over it.
It starts to move.
It starts to move. I make
That's funny that you say that because Anthony, my dad last week was in his yard, and this is Charlotte, North Carolina. He's not by any
Don't
war.
say that.
You guys got to be careful out there because he does a lot of landscaping work, but he was home going to his little shed he has in his backyard, and he said he was leaning down, and right beside him was a moccasin, and it was ready to strike
they're
him.
big.
Oh my God.
Really? Oh
Yeah,
my
the only
goodness.
thing he said the good Lord told him to look over, and the thing was literally right beside him.
Oh my God,
He
Becky.
was out of the way before the thing could do any kind of striking. And he
Oh,
hit-
no.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is what hey, the prayers of the righteous are never forsaken, man.
absolutely.
So, I'm saying we're grateful for that because he could have been an upper room candidate.
Well, and we're talking. That's crazy.
I'm sorry. That was kind of funny though.
No, that's kind
the
of
way
crazy.
he said it, upper room
That's not
candidate.
funny, but I'm sorry. He's in the upper room. We's next.
The upper room.
I'm going to pass up and sing your funeral. We's next.
Silly, man.
So Damian, as you and your brother have developed, and of course he gave us such great information about you guys and how you started yesterday. Give us your perspective on how you guys started, because one of the hardest things I find is working with family, right? And a lot of times people start businesses, and I guess one of the hardest things sometimes is working and continuing, because sometimes you could start up good. And then a few years later, it's like everybody's at each brother's throat because, hey, I want to do this. Now, tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I think we started early understanding our vision of what we wanted to see happen in business, and we've always pretty much stayed focused on the vision, despite whatever differences, despite whatever trials, challenges that we had. We always got back to the vision, and we've always been committed to fulfilling that vision at all costs. And so whether it be family or friends or a stranger, if the vision is truly what you're about and seeing happen, then you just stay true to that. And that's how we've been able to get past whatever differences, whatever challenges we've had as being brothers or just being two men, with two lives and trying to bring those lives together to accomplish that vision. So I think the focus and really taking ownership of the vision as your own, not that's my brother's vision or that's someone else's vision, that's my vision. And, we don't even get into the whole part of who thought of what first, because it's been so long now, it could get blurred, so.
Of course.
Yes.
It's really just staying focused on the vision is what has allowed us to be in business so long together. And people always say, well, it's because y'all brothers. I got other siblings.
Go ahead.
I got other siblings that I'm not in business with. So I think it's bigger than the whole brother thing, the whole family thing. Is two people seeing a vision and adopting it as their own and just doing whatever it takes to see it come to pass.
And you said something powerful about two people seeing vision. In fact, I and Monica had a conversation yesterday after we left a networking meeting yesterday, and we talked about a lot of times people don't see your vision, right? And they may not have to, because the sad thing is that you're gonna always have critics. You guys ever have critics?
We still got them.
You mean you still deal with them even at the success level that you're on?
That's how you know you're doing the right thing.
Right.
Oh,
they just
man.
admiring. That's all that is.
So you mean as you're going through business, of course we're talking about the psychology of business, right? You have to psych yourself out of listening to those naysayers, right?
Absolutely. Even 18 years in business, you still got criticisms. You still got what people say today, haters. But that's just part of it. You know that some of the criticism may be very true. We might need to correct some things, but at the same time, you need those things to we use them to fuel us.
Yes.
And we just keep pushing towards our goals.
And you know what's so funny? It's always, this is really, now, I believe in mentors being there, or like it says, people being there to let you know, hey, you need to turn your rudder this way a little bit. But it's always strange to me when sometimes people are looking from the outside and they're saying, well, you need to do this. And there are some people who affect their own business by always, well, you're not doing it right.
Right.
But you're not seeing what I'm doing. You're not understanding the direction, but you're trying to direct me.
Right.
From
Your
outside.
life is from outside. You haven't been through a lot of the experiences I have. Now,
Right.
if you're a multimillionaire and you're telling me, okay, guys, you know what? You need to franchise this business. You need to create a model. Have you had anybody like that in your life there?
Oh, yeah. We have some great mentors who actually, hit the billionaire status.
Oh, wow.
So-
The B,
Yeah.
Monica.
So-
Hey, we called it yesterday.
So
The
when,
B status.
so when those people started talking to you, you listen a lot closer because they said, take advice from people that you don't mind trading places with.
Wow.
And so, when you're looking at a billionaire, someone who's accomplished something and did some things, and you wouldn't mind trading places with them, then you don't mind taking advice or criticisms from them.
Wow. Say that one more time. I think you need to repeat that one more time. Trading places, what you just said.
You should take advice from people you don't mind trading places with.
Wow. I definitely.
I'm going to be using that just so you know.
Just so you know.
Yeah, we just stole it.
I probably stole it from somebody.
Oh, you did?
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
So it was going to be mine.
Yeah.
But, and that's so important. And you know what? As you got, like you said, one of the things that, people in business often don't overcome is, you may have, and some of the times the people that hurt you the most are family members.
Absolutely.
It's the saddest thing. Some people that quit their business or do the wrong things are influenced. And let me tell you something. And when you have friends, and one of the things, one of our previous guests, Dr. Melton, he talked about, friends. And we had mentioned that you don't hang around, the
friends.
Say it again.
With broke friends.
Broke friends.
Or people with money who just spend it. They don't have the same mindset.
But that's what he said.
That's what he said.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what he said. I said what Judith said, and he turned it around to what you just said.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which is basically, you don't want to hang around people, even if they have money and they have a broke mindset or they have a spend mindset. I was listening to I believe it was Don yesterday, and that's Don Blackwell. And he was saying, you may have people that have money, but they're not really business savvy. They may be good at spending money.
Right.
So you might go to the club and they buying $100 bottles of champagne, and whatever it is, they got their VIP, and you're thinking, man, they got money. But those may not be the people you need to idolize.
Not at all.
And that's where I think a lot of people
called them financially sick, too.
Wow, yes,
Right.
he did. Financially sick.
And that they don't have your goal in mind and your objectives. And we have to be aware of that when we're around people that are just of different mindsets.
And it's really being aware. Maybe it's nothing wrong being a VIP. If I'm a VIPer,
there's nothing wrong with it at all.
It depends here on how they go about their life,
Absolutely.
right?
Right.
And so, it's really important. And guys, today this is Dollars Not Cents. We're talking to an entrepreneur, Damian Johnson, the twin of Jermaine Johnson, and we're just having a good time here. Are you having a good time so far,
Absolutely,
Jermaine?
absolutely.
Damian, see, I already called you. See, I think y'all switched places.
No.
See,
we ain't did that since high school.
Just bringing that up now.
But Jermaine alluded to that yesterday.
Y'all must have done something in high school.
Who took what test for who?
Not
It's
saying
more
now.
than a test. I know it was more than a
Okay,
test.
come back and get your high school diploma now. You can.
Yeah. That's over.
Oh man, we're having a good time. You went to J.C. Smith right here in Charlotte,
Right.
And he said he actually didn't really follow you. You just kind of went because sometimes people expect twins to do the same thing, don't they?
Yeah.
They expect y'all to dress
One
the same.
mind, two bodies.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did totally opposite things when it came to school.
Oh yeah, and what was your experience down here in Charlotte? What made you move from Buffalo to Charlotte? Of all places, you moved to Charlotte.
I wanted to be at a historical black college. That was my whole goal.
Interesting.
And at the time, Charlotte had the Hornets. Buffalo didn't have a basketball team. So I was like, well, it can't be that country. School days, watching School Days, that whole mindset of a black college, and I just wanted to be down here. And the name of the school was Johnson C. Smith. My last name was Johnson. I said, that's got to be a sign.
Yeah.
Right.
And you studied what, business management over there?
Business marketing was
Business marketing. Wow, awesome. So who handles the money in the business, talking about that?
For the most part, we do it together, but I'm the one who sits down with the accountants and all the legal people when it comes to the numbers and really looking at the projections of where we're going and how we're going to get to the next level. So, but we come together on all decision making.
Oh, well, that's good. And you know what? And that's so important that you have a balance, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, entrepreneurs can be so caught up in what they're doing that they don't balance themselves. I know I balance myself against Monica, and we talk about things.
Right.
We talk about and we make decisions together.
Yeah.
It's so important because, a lot of times you might think, well, we're going in this right direction, but that right direction may not be, the best direction.
Right.
Yeah.
I go ahead, Stephen.
Yeah, I wanted to chime in on it because I think that one of the things that we do need to, and he brings a couple of excellent points about it. But as far as the entrepreneur, one thing I want to remind a lot of folks about is that we work a lot with individual self-employed entrepreneurs, and one of the challenges that we always see, Anthony, you can chime in on this as well, is that they often don't have retirement planning, and so they don't understand that there are some options for them that we can provide. And me and Anthony worked on a case with someone who was, I think she was maybe might have been in the mortgage business or the real estate business, but left that business. I work a lot with a lot of barbers and cosmetologists, and I set up monthly retirement plans for them that they get excited about. So I just wanted to chime in on that because a lot of these barbers and stylists are independent contractors that rent booths. Mm-hmm. And so but they don't have retirement plans set up any longer. And so that's one of the things that we do, and I think we do it pretty well.
Oh, yeah, definitely. In fact, yesterday at our meeting, we were talking to entrepreneurs, and you'll be surprised how many don't have a retirement plan in place.
Well, usually most entrepreneurs, that's not their mindset. Their mindset is to get the job done by any means necessary.
Yeah.
And hoping that one day they'll have enough money to put away for retirement. So they have to be educated. They have to be in relationships with people who are in the insurance business, the people who are in the retirement business, and just share that information with them. But every entrepreneur I ever met has always been focused on getting their vision or their dream accomplished, even to the death of them.
Oh, man. Wow. And you know what? It's so funny you say that because, like you just said, a lot of people don't think they're going to die.
Right.
And really, this is the one thing. Tell me if you're a true entrepreneur, you've experienced stress, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how do you handle your stress on the business?
Well, I think we have a different mindset. We understand that business is war. So
I like that.
There will be some moments when your life is on the line or your life is threatened. So after years of kind of training yourself and understanding that business is war, you learn how to be prepared. Hopefully you get your stress levels down and you start to surround yourself with people who can protect you when you're in this war. But, when we didn't, I can't say we actually knew it when we first got in it. But, over the years, we start to understand and we built relationships with people who are in business, and you understand that this is life, and it's not easy. It goes back to those disciplines we talked about. You got to have some type of discipline. No one is telling you that, that you may get sued or, you may not, meet your payroll or, just different things. So you learn that over time. And sitting down with elders and people who had been in business for years, and their stories sound like mine, but it was 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
So, you really learn that this thing is a journey. It's a war. So anything that you want to kind of do in business, whether it be barbershops or starting your own radio station, it's going to be war.
Right.
You're now tuned in to the Dollars Not Cents radio show with your hosts, Anthony, Stephen, and Monica. The show that educates you about money and exposes the nonsense that we've been taught about money with a current news view. Get your pen and paper ready. Let's get started.
Good morning. Welcome back to the show. I shouldn't say good morning because sometimes, the show's played at other times. But that's okay. It's always a good morning.
Good morning here.
It's good morning somewhere. Somewhere in the world, it's good morning. So we want to, again, welcome you folks back to Dollars Not Cents. And we're just so excited about our guest today, Damian Johnson. And he uses that name to get around, so y'all watch it. All you Johnsons out there,
that's
watch out. That's my cousin.
You know what I'm going to say, Cousin Pete.
Brother from another mother.
Right.
Well, it's really a great topic we're talking about, and I believe it's something that can save some people time. That's what this show is about. It's about saving you time and money, because time is really the only thing that we have that's valuable, right? And if we can save you 10 or 20 years trying to figure out how to get in business, how to start a business, that's our goal. We want to catch somebody who's listening that says, I want to get into a business. I want to start a barbershop, or I want to start a restaurant, or whatever that is. But we want to save you the headache. And go ahead, Stephen.
That was that was a video.
You playing video games while we talking.
Just a video. How you go on the site to look up something, and they have videos everywhere streaming.
We know. Okay, that's what you get for being home. But Stephen, good morning, sir. What do you got for us in sports? I know it was a really good game last night.
Yeah, it was. It was a really good game. I mean, in terms of last night, I just want to touch on that the National Hockey League Stanley Cup Finals Game 4 takes place tonight in Chicago, with the Tampa Bay Lightning leading that series 2-1. And in baseball, there was a no-hitter pitched. It's the 17th no-hitter in San Francisco Giants history. Chris Heston threw a no-hitter versus the New York Mets yesterday. No-hitter means no one got a hit. You can get on base, which is not a perfect game, but no one had an actual hit in the game. So congratulations to the young man who got a no-hitter in the first of this year as far as a no-hitter in baseball. Also, big news in FIFA, they will postpone the bid process for the 2026 World Cup amidst all the scandal that's been going on with FIFA right now and the millions of dollars that has been absolutely stolen and just taking advantage of some opportunities, I guess, that are, people do that good or bad. So unfortunately that happened. But in the NBA last night, the Cleveland Cavaliers, led by LeBron James, is 40 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists.
Wow. Kill it. He killed it. And Mr. I call him Rudy, Mr. Matthew Dellavedova, who actually scored 20 points. And for a while, it looked as if the MVP of this year's regular season, Stephen Curry, was basically at home playing and watching the game, because he was out there. He had 3 points going into the second half of that game. He only had 3 points and was 1 for 6 shooting, and then all of a sudden he woke up, and which could be bad news for Cleveland going into Game 4, which will be tomorrow night. Steph ended up, I think, with 27 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. He scored 17 points in the fourth quarter, so he woke up, but it was too little, too late to ever try again in that particular game. So he has to come back for Game 4 tomorrow night. But Cleveland now leads that series 2-1, and LeBron James is averaging, guys, for 3 games, 41 points He
tonight,
is serious.
12 rebounds, and 8.3 assists a night. That is absolutely ridiculous.
That man is serious about winning this series. You hear me?
He is.
Well,
Yeah, absolutely. He's putting Cleveland on his back right now, literally.
Well, I mean, if he's playing with injured players, he's double digits.
He's a serious. I think he's a serious guy in general, and that just spills right over into his ball playing, because even when you're watching him on the screen, he has an intensity that you can see, and his mentor is Warren Buffett. So
Yeah, I think we're watching the greatest business athlete.
Really?
absolutely,
Thank you.
that's exactly what he is. Absolutely.
Because somebody said that Cleveland lost billions, right, when he left.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then for him to come back with rings and a team that really doesn't have nobody but him. But he got some hungry people, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they was hustling last night.
And he has great leadership skills
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the thing about it, people also have to realize that he learned a lot. When he went to Miami, that was like, and even Dwayne Wade said it last night, he's one of the analysts, it was like his 4 years off at college. Because, LeBron James never went to college. He went straight from high school to the NBA.
Yeah, he was a boy.
So he went to Miami. He learned from a winning organization that had already won a championship before he got there.
That's right.
And he had to play along the role of one of the guys on the team and being one of the leaders. Even though he was the best player in the world, he still had to learn how to win. So now when he came back to Cleveland, he's the alpha dog. He is the king.
Yeah.
So he's teaching everybody else what he learned when he was down in Miami.
Truth be told, he about to
yes.
really earn his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that King James, and he's number 23 now. I was like, okay. I see this host. I see the
okay.
setup. I see it.
You see the setup?
I see it. 23. All right. You out there. Because remember, they got mad when he lost the weight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he came back a lot smaller than before. But, hey, he hustling. I said, he's
But like you
getting
said,
it.
he's a money man. And
Yeah.
his mentor, Warren Buffett, when you talk
right.
about looking at billionaires,
Yes.
Warren Buffett hits the mark for sure. You know, we talked before the commercial, and we were talking about your business, and you know naturally, and you guys, I want you a little bit at the end of the show also to talk about your products. All right, we're talking about things that you guys are going into, and so we talked about franchising, and a lot of people, when they start a business, they don't think about franchising later on.
Right.
I think that's always in the back of their mind, which, again, maybe the good thing in the beginning, maybe. And I have a slightly different opinion when I start certain things. Like when I started this business, I'm starting it with the intention of franchising what we do in insurance across the country, in every state, in every town. That's our concept. Now, we start off with one location, but then the whole concept is if to become a billionaire or a millionaire, multimillionaire, you need to have more going for you. You need to have the pennies coming in from multiple locations.
Absolutely.
So what is your take on building your business and how you're building your business?
Well, we believe, sky's the limit for us in our industry. We're definitely going to take the route of franchising at some point. Right now, we're doing partnerships when we create LLCs, and we find partners who we would like to work with to open up multiple shops. There's a totally different format when you're doing franchising, and the money could be very, very plentiful.
Yes.
In franchising, and you can start to grow very, very fast. And I've seen those things happen, and it doesn't always work out that way, because you can open up all these franchises, but the franchisee may not be ready.
Good.
That's
good.
And in our industry, it's very culturally and community based, so you can't just start popping up barbershops all over the city without really having the real true structure and management. So that's why we're not going into the franchise route immediately. We're gonna identify partners, create some LLCs until we get to a number where we're comfortable to open up multiple shops from a franchise standpoint.
And that's really good, because you have to understand your plan, right?
Right.
It's your plan. You have to understand, but at least you have a plan, right?
Right.
And that's, I think, the biggest problem with people when they start a business. They have no plan for expansion, for, what it's going to take during the hard times or during the down times. And we talked about handling stress, right? How do you guys, because as you're growing, and your brother said it yesterday, he says, you know what, we really can't take a lot of time. There's a lot of sacrifices that happen between your family, and there's sacrifices that I make. And my wife and I were discussing, we of course do Herbalife, and we do nutrition, and she was saying, what if we went on vacation and it was around the time that our kids have to graduate, right? Mm-hmm. Now, Herbalife vacation, there's a lot of camaraderie, there's a lot of things going on, and in fact, there's one right now, they're going to Hawaii, but some of the groups, their kids are graduating right now, but they can't be there. So it was kind of like we were talking to kids, what would you do? You know what I'm saying? But how do you handle, because there are pressures in the home. There's always pressure in the home to be there, to always be there. And then sometimes you might be on the road. Do you go on the road?
Oh, yeah. We do a lot of traveling. We've done a lot more traveling than we have in the past. I think, again, you have to go into the mindset of understanding that, entrepreneurship is totally different than anything else. I try to go in there with the mindset of, what did Malcolm X and them go through? What did Dr. King them do? What sacrifices did they do to have, the legacy that that we kind of celebrate?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I imagine that their wives and their children sacrificed a lot. So
they sacrifice a whole lot.
So I think on the economic side of especially African Americans, we need someone or some persons to start to sacrifice so that we can start to have a legacy economically as a people. So that's our mindset, and it's taken years to get our wives to have that mindset, and even our children. But
they gonna get you after the show.
I'd rather for them to celebrate me, like King's family celebrate their father, than to just say, yeah, my dad was cool, and nah. I'd rather say he wasn't at home, but they were accomplishing a lot. And so that's just a choice. That's a choice. That's a preference. And so when it comes to vacations, we try to create moments where it be very memorable for our kids. So
yes.
Like, oh, we did this, we did that, but they're far and few in between.
But and that's really, really powerful, because like you said, and it's good to have good wives. If you're married, it's good to have a good wife that understands that these sacrifices. And I do, like I said, I've been married 18 years, so I know the sacrifices we've gone through in the beginning. It was hard getting adjusted. This is a lifestyle where sometimes, I'm working at the office till 2 a.m, till 3, and coming home, and we may be ships in the night, just really not seeing each other. So it does become a little bit challenging. And the good thing is to have a good partner, a good wife that really understands, where you are. Or that's or husband, right? We speak on the male perspective,
right?
But we're not speaking. No, ain't got no husbands, right?
Or husbands, ladies, I'm there for you. Or husbands.
That's right.
But it's really good, and it's good to have somebody to support in the home, to support you. Like it says, even in the down times, because there's always sacrifice. One thing about, and we talked about this. You said something about, like, people don't expect not to have payroll 1 week, or not to meet the obligations.
Right.
How do you guys kind of handle that? Because again, that's really important for business owners.
Yeah, what we do better than we did in our early years is management.
Yes.
Just really managing the financing, making sure that you don't, you try to underspend, overspend, and try to find, ways to cut expenses. And ways to bring more money in. But at the same, it's all about management. So managing your money, managing your time, and just managing the people that you have has been the biggest key. And just in the things that you don't know, find people that do know.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes,
and you're not, if you're the smartest person in the room, we've heard this before, then you're in the wrong room.
right. Yes.
Absolutely.
Make sure you just surround yourself with some very smart people, so that everyone is being held accountable. So that takes off that stress that you may not have all the answers. So just create a atmosphere of teamwork and professionals, and I think that will lessen the stress. Make everyone buy in to the actual overall vision. And when I say buy in, they have to adopt it as their own. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They have to. It can't be, Anthony's radio station. It has to be everyone who's involved's radio station.
Yes,
because that's going to release some of that stress. So I think those are the things that have helped us along the way.
And you know what? It's funny because I and Monica were talking about this as far as giving. You can tell we talk a lot, right? We bounce things
That's
off
good.
of each other all the time. And we talk about the giving process. One thing about the giving process is, it's like you said, it's not my show, it's our show, in the sense that I'm giving this back to everybody, back to the community, back to our partners, back to everybody. Because when you give, actually, your returns are so much better when you learn how to give.
Yep.
You offer.
You see what I'm saying? Sometimes people come with a mindset, well, why are you giving me this? Hey, because I'm giving because that's number one. I know I'm going to get a great return, but at the same time, it's better to give than to receive. And we hear that a lot of times, and we feel it's one-sided. But people don't realize the service you're providing, and for instance, your schools. You're providing an opportunity where most of these kids may not be able to go to a standard college, or may not be academically inclined, or they may be.
Right.
But they have a skill that they may not have explored, but you guys are given a skill that creates opportunity.
Yes, I think that's just the key of any real successful business, is you have to find some route to give back.
Yes.
Some way, somehow, be it your time, your talent, or your treasure. You have to find some way to give back. And the school was a big piece. We didn't really want to go into the school arena, but we were kind of forced to. But it was one of the best routes that we could have taken as a business.
Well, that's awesome. You also have, some products coming out here pretty soon.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about that.
From everything from, our shampoos, our hair products, we even got a fashion line that's coming.
Uh-oh.
That we're just trying to touch everything.
For me?
This classy bow tie,
You got your own trademark bow tie?
And our bow ties are.
Can I give you some ideas for my bow tie?
Yeah, I can give you some ideas.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. We'll personalize it just for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But that's great. And that's getting into the products. We'll have you guys back on another show because I really want to dive, because sometimes people, when they want, I might, like me, I have a barbecue sauce. I want to be able to get it on the market.
That's right.
A lot of times that's a lot more technical doing those type of things, and people understand, and there's a lot of process. So we'll get into that, but I want to ask you a little bit about your partnership. And a lot of times people will kind of end on this, with partnerships, there's this uncomfortability as to what happened if something was to happen to one of the partners. And, you said something really important during the break is, what do you guys have in place to protect? Because again, we are not immortal, folks. And I feel you need to have these hard discussions.
Yeah, I think as me and my brother started to mature and we started having families and the business was growing, we had to sit down with someone who understood, our situation. So we had got into a buy-sell insurance, which, if something should happen to me or my brother, the other one would be the beneficiary and handle all the business side, but yet our families would be taken care of.
Yes.
That was the big thing for working as hard as we've worked for all these years, is to make sure that our families will be taken care of. Because truthfully, we really enjoy what we do. It's not work to us. So we can really do it probably until we can't do it anymore. But it's the stress and the things that the family have to go through that if you should die, who takes care of them?
Yes.
And so we wanted to make sure that our families will be in a good position, and yet the business still go on without the other one. So the buy-sell insurance was a big piece to our business.
And that is so important in every business, especially if you have a partnership, have some form of insurance protection. And we also talk about something here, it's called business overhead expense insurance, which is BOE, which a lot of business owners have no idea about. And we of course try to educate them on, because guess what? If you were to get sick and disabling sick, or any one of you need to have, because guess what? There's all kinds of viruses going on. I mean, it could be a mosquito bite. Go ahead, Stephen.
Just anything.
I was going to chime in on that. I think we also have to be aware of when some folks do have, and I've seen this happen. I've seen it where folks they'll have a buy-sell agreement and they'll fund it the right way with with insurance, but it'll be term insurance. And the problem with funding something with term insurance is term insurance has an expiration date.
Yes.
So that's the phrase term means for a time frame. So if you have a term policy that is a 20-year term in your business, what if you outlive that term? So then what has to happen is you then have to pay the new rate at that age, which will be very exorbitant because you'll be 20 or 30 years older. So you have to sometimes make sure that you understand how your insurance, how that plan is funded.
Yes, and that I mean, all these pieces. In fact, when we consult with entrepreneurs, we also talk about their retirement. We talked about that earlier in the show. Do you have any options that pay 5% every deposit you put in?
Yes, I do.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of people don't know about these things. And this is the thing that we want to educate, especially, like I said, barbers and beauticians, because they're independent. They're concentrating more on the dollar that's coming in at the end. And you've probably seen this where they don't actually manage their money as well, right?
No.
And this is one of the things that's my passion. Judith will tell you from the beginning that when we were talking about that market with the barbershops and the barbers and beauticians, because we see it, number one, as they're great entrepreneurs, they make great money, but oftentimes in their older years, they're still doing the same thing. They never really retire.
Right.
You might have a
Most often than not, they don't have a plan in place to retire. They
Right.
simply have a plan in place to grow the business.
Yes.
Right.
And hope, like you said earlier, to have some money left over that they can use when they retire.
Yeah, this conversation has to be had over
Yes.
and
And
over and
over.
over.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm
again.
finding that, yes.
And you
over
got to
and
start
over.
like before anybody gets into business, get them when they broke.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know that's the hardest
That
tell them
is
how to
place,
take-
right?
true,
how to
though.
treat
That
the
is
money.
true.
That's the
That is
hardest
true.
place, though.
Yeah, but at least they've heard it when they were broke.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They gotta keep
And,
hearing
That's
it.
I want to chime in on that because the one thing that I've seen, and I had a cosmetologist. And cosmetologists, obviously, they can charge more. So a lot of times, they have a nice clientele. They can make a lot of money. But
They
actually,
do.
I had a young lady who had been in the business probably 17, 18 years. She's owned a salon, no retirement plan set up. But then every time we get ready to talk, she keeps delaying, putting it off. I said, "You're already 17 years in the hole."
Right.
Yeah, because it's cash money business.
It's
That's
cash
why.
money every day.
And
yes.
cash money sometimes gets people to the point where, well, I could make the cash tomorrow, but they're always behind.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because-
They spend that cash too. That's the problem. They end up spending that cash. My
every
ex
day.
was a stylist.
Every day. Absolutely
They
every
spend it
day.
Watch your
every day
ex a
because
lot.
they're not looking at what they're actually bringing in.
Well, you
Right.
know, this is always a great topic. That's why I said we always have to have
Yeah.
another show because this hour just flies.
Oh yeah.
You know, and you know, we want to thank you for being a guest on the show. And your website is
www.nogrease.com.
nogrease.com. Of course, we have a link on our website. Guys, give some closing statements. So we're going to start with Judith L. Bentley.
I would go back to discipline because I find that that's a challenge among not just entrepreneurs, but everybody, but basically for entrepreneurs. Be disciplined so that you can develop consistencies, which develop success.
Stephen, give us your closing comments.
Plan, man. And if you don't prepare to plan, you prepare to fail.
That's true.
That's right. My
That's
dad
true.
said, if you fail to plan, plan to fail.
Plan to fail, yes.
Go ahead, Monica. She always has the words of wisdom over there.
I appreciate that. I try to do my best. I just want to reiterate the fact that these brothers went and opened up schools.
Yes.
I think a lot of people don't realize that if you take something that you're good at and you actually open up a school to teach someone else, it's almost giving them the opportunity to find out the prodigy in themselves.
Wow.
Because,
Just told you she's good.
Well, just real quick, I just want to say, think about it. I'm thinking about Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston, them, right? Can you imagine the people that we consider the greatest voices in the world, right? If they ever open up a school to look for the next great voice, who will you find? But by these brothers open up schools, I'm like, Dad, you're giving people the opportunity to really find their creativity on who they really are.
Yep.
Wow,
Jermaine, I'm going
that's
to give you a
nice.
closing statement. Go ahead. Give
It's
us a closing
Damian.
statement. Damian.
You
I
fine.
got you.
Thank you.
She got me. See, I'm bad with names. I'm sorry. I called said enough. Said, okay, go ahead.
I just want to just share with the world of radio. If we ever put our minds together, specifically, I'm not, pro black, but I am very
No,
black.
I get you, yeah.
But if we ever put our minds together, the hair industry is one of the biggest,
Yes.
huge industry. It's
It
our
is.
black oil.
Wow.
Yes.
It is our natural resource, and it's such a huge, huge market that whoever's out there listening, if we came together, and when I say we, I'm talking about me and my brother at the table, we could take over a multi-billion-dollar business.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Excellent.
folks. This has been an awesome, awesome, awesome show. And, as usual, you can catch our recordings on Blog Talk Radio, takinoverradio.com. You can also visit our website, www.dollarsnotcents. And, of course, Twitter. Send us your tweets and share our tweets.
Facebook it.
Facebook it. Folks, thank you so much. We are off the air. We thank you so much, and we will see you guys tomorrow morning
Take
with
care.
a great day. Thank you.
Bye.
Todd Hood.